It is a privilege to introduce Professor Kailash Bihari Lal Srivastava, a distinguished professor in the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences at IIT Kharagpur. Sir has been here at IIT Kharagpur since 1997 and has since then made significant contributions to the field of human resource development, social and organizational psychology, performance management, knowledge management, change management, among other areas. With a PhD in psychology from IIT Kanpur, Professor Srivastava is today one of the stalwarts in the area of organizational psychology and has been a key contributor in education development in India through his widely known and appreciated NPTEL courses. His career is filled with reputed positions and recognitions for his work, from being the president of National Academy of Psychology to being in the selection committees of esteemed institutions like UPSC and IIM Ranchi. Sir has successfully guided more than 20 completed doctoral theses and published more than 50 papers in top reputed journals. We are honored to have Professor Srivastava for the session today on implementing sustainability in an organization, where his extensive expertise and experience will provide invaluable insights and wisdom to manage the complexities of today. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Devanshi, for such a nice introduction. Eh? So, I think you have this program starting on 6th, right? And then you are going on various aspects, issues and concerns related to sustainability. Okay? In all domain, including say personal, social, organizational, right? So, it is very important that we need to adopt systems and practices, so that only we are not going to benefit from that, but our future generations are also going to benefit, right. So, there are a lot of issues and concerns which companies are facing, and management is also sometimes not clear how they would go about implementing certain practices, so that the organization become more sustainable in the future. So, now if you look at this, when we are talking about sustainability in the organization, basically you have to see that how it is going to serve stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? Employers, customers, suppliers, then investors, regulators, right. So, all of them are stakeholders, and every stakeholder has its due to the organization, and at the same time they also want something, they have certain expectations, right. So, while one of the obligations of the organization is to see that they are going to take care of the stakeholders, but at the same time they are also going to see that they are going to take care of the planet, our earth, right. So, both kind of say things are there, taking care of the earth and also ensuring that they have good return on their investments, okay, so that they can serve the stakeholders. So, it is very important for the organizations today to see what kind of models have been adopted by the businesses to remain sustainable. Okay. See, it is not just we are not just only talking about ethics or responsibility, but sustainability has actually taken a center stage today, and companies have to think that what kind of strategic initiatives can be taken up by them to remain profitable, not only profitable, so let us say, but also take care of the sustainability issues. So, basically it does not require a more fragmented approach, okay, you do this, you do that. Okay. For example, some companies are focusing only on one particular activity, say reducing the energy consumption. So, that is not enough, they have to take a more holistic and positive proactive approach. So, in that context I have to say that yes, they have to set their goals related to sustainability, what they want to achieve within a given time frame, what kind of challenges they are going to face or they are likely to face when they are going to implement these kind of things. For example, I was attending a conference and there were senior leaders, okay, from different sectors, and then when we asked that okay, how we are going to implement, what are the indicators, most of these senior leaders were not aware about them, that how do they go about implementing certain practices which may lead to sustainability. Okay. So, educating and making them aware about the issues and concerns, both positive and negative consequences which is going to be there, it is very important at the first stage. So, education and awareness, and also another important thing is basically that the stakeholders have to change their mindset. See, there are two issues, one is related to growth and development, right, we cannot deny that. Other issue is how we are using the resources for that. Can we adopt these twin issues at the same time or not, or are we going to make a balance between the two? On the one side we are looking forward to growth and development, where we have to exploit our resources. On the other side we have to see that how much resources we are going to exploit, how we are going to exploit them, all kind of things. Okay. So, most of the companies need to develop a more sustainable business models depending upon the kind of businesses, the nature of business that they are doing. So, these business model are not going to be something that is going to be uniform for all kind of organizations, but it is going to vary depending upon the requirement of the organization. Now, you look at this figure, you can see it is from a research paper that I could find out. What are the drivers for sustainability dynamics? See, what are the various resources that most of the organizations are using? There could be some more. Can you identify anything else other than what is this mentioned here: land, water, energy, capital, labor? Yeah. Okay. That is related to energy. Broadly, these are the 5 resource base which are being used by the organization. Now, you have to see what are the options that is available. Okay. Now, what you need to do is that on the one side you are talking about the resource base that is to be deployed, utilized by the organizations. You also have your own interests, social, economic and environmental goals, right. So, the basic issue is that how we are going to manage these resources given the context in which you are working, given the resources that you have, how you are going to make use of these resources in a better way, so that you are going to be sustainable. What are the drivers? See, these are both sides you can see some of the drivers. Governance issues are there, right. Policies and interest of each sector is different. When you are talking about this hospitality sector, they are creating a different kind of waste, right. When you are talking about IT, they are creating a different kind of waste. When you talk about say mines, they are creating different kind of waste. So, the sectoral interests and policies are different. Okay. Another issue is related to development of industries. The third one is how agriculture is going to be transformed. Okay. You know, the lot of technological advancements have taken place, because of which the kind of agriculture that we used to engage in say 20, 30, 40 years before and today is quietly, I mean totally different, right. And then you also know that there is a lot of innovations are happening, okay, in all sectors, in all kind of organizations regarding the use of various resources. This side you can see how things are happening, like everybody is talking about the climate change today, right. Then cultural and social beliefs and behaviors, they are affecting a lot, because it is the most important thing what I think as a psychologist is the mindset of the people, right. So, we need to change our attitude towards consumption, that is very, very important, realizing that these resources are depleting, okay, and if you do not make a judicious use, what will happen? If you look at the fossil fuel route, how long it is going to sustain? Let us say coal, right, which is a major source of energy, but it is not going to last long, maybe 100 years, 200 years at the most after that. So, we have to think about it. Then the changes that is happening, urbanization, population growth, all kind of things. Okay. So, basically these drivers are going to force us to see that how we are going to manage resources in a better way, so that we are able to take care of the social, economic and environmental goals, and also related to the business at the same time, right. Look. So, as I told you earlier also that we require a more holistic approach from the organizations. So, many companies have actually gone for adopting a lot of put in practices basically to see that their environmental impact contribute to a more sustainable future. Let me give one example. See, and then we also look at the other side of the story. It is not that okay, you are going to reduce the environmental impact. Okay. You know that today most of the companies have come out with e-vehicles, whether you are talking about 2-wheelers or 4-wheelers. Okay. And we say that it is good for the environment because it is not going to pollute it. Okay. That is the one side of the story. What is the other side of the story? How much resources you are using to create just one battery for a car, right. Nobody is talking about that one. And actually I was reading about one study, and it says that how much pollution is being created by a 4-wheeler, and if you look at the cost associated with a e-vehicle is more than that. So, just imagine the kind of things that are happening. Okay. But people are not thinking about it. They said okay, we have a e-vehicle, so it is not going to pollute the environment, but it is not so. Okay. See what are the material that is used in batteries? Lithium, yeah, cobalt. From where you are getting it? From the earth. So, the amount of cobalt or lithium that is required for one battery in a car, if you look at the extraction, modification and all kind of things, how much time it is taking, how much resources it utilizes and other kind of things. Okay. So, you have to see that when you are talking about sustainable development, you take a more holistic approach. You just do not look at what are the benefits that we are going to derive out of it, right. See IT industries, how much waste they are generating. Okay. See every 2 years, 3 years we are changing our mobile and throwing them out off. What is happening to them? Is it being disposed effectively, right. So, a lot of issues and concerns that we have. Okay. So, depending upon the requirement, each business has to define its objectives, okay, which not only aligns to the values of the company, but also to make sure that it is it leads to being a more sustainable business. So, every organization has to go for some kind of sustainability audit related to the operations, systems, practices, everything, whether it is supply chain, whether it is marketing or whether it is the production, anything, okay, where it is very, very important. Okay. And you also need to engage all the stakeholders in the process, that is very, very important. Okay. And you also need to invest in training people regarding sustainability, so that they engage in such practices, and you also allow them to participate in sustainability initiative. But how many companies are doing? I will give you the data later on to show you that what is happening. What are the challenges? This is again identified based on a research that was done by Foster, and what they have identified is these 5 important issues when it comes to implementing sustainable practices. Limited financial resource, many companies do not have enough resources to go for it. There is a lot of resistance from stakeholders, all kind of stakeholders, especially those organizations which are for profit, right. So, their focus is more on profit than going for these kind of activities. There are lot of regulatory hurdles are there. We have lot of rules and regulations related to ensure that we are able to manage our environment we are able to take care of our social responsibilities, governance issues. I mean, I am talking about the ECG issues, environmental, social and governance issues, right. But how far they are being implemented by the industries, by the governments? I think you had a talk by that lady yesterday, right. You are creating sustainability indicators for the states, for the society, for others, but whether it is being implemented effectively or not, that is very, very important. Okay. Every time after Diwali, Delhi comes into the grip of high pollution, AQI goes up to 500, right, and then you take certain reactive measures, not proactive measures. Yes. Yeah. I think in India it did not cross 1400, but as I think Pakistan it went up to 1400. Yes, not in India, it went up to 500, something like that. So, if you are living in such a polluted environment, it is going to affect your health, right. So, just imagine that government is more reactive when this happens, then they go for certain regulations. No, you cannot drive car, you say go for grab 3, grab 4, these kind of things, all kind of things. But why do not you become more preventive, right, be more proactive, that is very, very important. And another issue that we have talked about is lack of awareness and knowledge. People are not also aware what are the things and issues or concerns related to sustainability. Okay. So, probably we need to educate people about these issues, what are the causes, what are the preventive measures that we have to take, okay. And also scaling up sustainable practices by the organization. You will get these PPTs, so you do not need to write anything. Okay. So, you can basically turn these sustainable challenges into business opportunities. How? Product and services innovation, develop sustainable products and services that meets the evolving needs of the environmentally conscious, say, consumers. How? You know that many companies are offering eco-friendly products and services, is not it? That is the best example I can give you. You know that now many companies have come out with, say, bags. See, most of us are using polythene bags, okay, which are basically polluting in nature, but now they are creating such bags which can dissolve and it is not going to have any negative impact on the environment, right. So, we have to think about such things. We also need to collaborate and partnership with all the stakeholders, whether suppliers, customers, vendors, okay, and also share the resources and expertise with each other, that how we can go for these kind of things. And of course, if you go for sustainability practices, it also leads to cost saving, right. So, for example, you go to say alternative energy sources, say solar power, solar wind energy, right. Say one time cost may be there. For example, even if you have put a solar powered say activity, it is going to reduce your energy, I mean the cost of producing energy, right, and the resource consumption is also good. So, these are some of the things that can be done. So, this slide I have taken from a source, that is BCG, you know BCG, Boston Consulting Group. So, they have come out with this kind of thing, okay, that what are the areas which had to be taken care of when you are going for being transformed into a sustainable organization. So, they say that yes, we have to look at this. Okay. So, basically you have to see that whether we can make sustainability as an advantage which is going to add value to the business, and also make sure that it is not going to badly impact or negatively impact the climate. So, he talked about that yes, we have to define our ambition, strategy and roadmap. So, you have to see that what are the material climate and sustainability topics based on the company and industry context. You have to develop end to end sustainability strategies for everything, okay, and also have targets and roadmaps, that how long you take to transform yourself into a sustainable business. Then make the core business sustainable, transform how current business operates to deliver social and environmental impact and make the company more resilient. Then how you are going to drive sustainable growth? Okay. You are going to invest in new businesses, revise your business models, okay, and shift the portfolio to achieve growth in new areas, okay, based on your sustainability targets. And finally, go for the transformation. Make sure that your leadership is good, because the role of leadership in sustainability is very, very important. Okay. In one of the conference in Tokyo, we are talking about leaders, the role of leaders in sustainable practices, and there you will find that unless leaders are strong enough to carry out these transformations and take initiatives, down the line does not happen much, right. So, it is very, very important to make sure that you have an authentic leader who really works for this, okay, and he also recognizes the impact that it is going to have not only on the organization, but also the ecosystem and the market. Yes, I do not think I need to discuss these points, you know about it. So, if you integrate say sustainability as a part of a business strategy, these are some of the say advantages that you have. Yes, good brand reputation. Now, people know that yes, you are an organization, okay, who is more eco friendly, right. You are taking care of your environment, your products and services are good, right, and that creates a positive brand image. Cost saving, that is very, very important factor, right, because if you adopt sustainable practices, it may lead to cost saving, like reduced energy consumption, water waste generation, operational efficiencies, right. You know, let me give an example how many real estate companies are saving costs. Okay. You know, now the government has made it a rule that any new building that is being constructed have to go for rainwater harvesting. You know what rainwater harvesting is? That whatever rain water that is coming through the rain has to be collected and used by the residents of that particular building. It is been mandatory, but how many of them are actually doing it, that is more important. Okay. So, what I am talking about is that if you go for rainwater harvesting, your dependence on this particular resource, say water, would be reduced, is not it? Maybe you are getting drinking water from other sources, but for other use you can make use of that water. See, the best example I can give you of Rajasthan, which have very good practices in conserving water, especially in the desert areas. Okay. You know that every household has a storage of water, whatever water that comes out through the rain, they store it and they use it when the rain is not there or when the water is not available outside. Okay. So, we need to go for such practices, okay, which are going to help us to save the cost, reduce our dependence on these resources, right. You also go for regulatory compliances. See, we have lot of environmental regulations, you have say pollution control boards, but how effective they are? I was going through the data of UP pollution control board, and I found that almost 60% government organizations, forget about the private organizations, where have not implemented stricter these regulations related to pollution control in the organizations. So, this is the situation. Okay. So, you need to implement those rules and regulations to save the environment, okay. Because you know that there is a high penalty. One builder in UP was imposed a fine of 60 lakh rupees because he did not go for this pollution control board certificate. I will not name it, but it happened. So, these kind of things are happening. You also need to improve your efficiency and resource management. Okay. See, you are going to be dependent on resources, right, whether it is land, whether it is water, whether it is energy, whatever it is, for even for raw materials. Okay. So, you have to think that whether you can increase the efficiency to produce your goods and services or not. Okay. And the most important is the building trust and loyalty. among the various stakeholders through partnership, so that they know that what kind of advantages this kind of practices would bring to them. Maybe in the beginning you will find that the profits are not coming that much, but maybe in the long run it is going to be better. Okay. See, these are the points that I have been talking about: enhanced brand reputation, loyalty, okay, increased innovation in market, innovation and market differentiation. You can differentiate your products and markets, right, if you are coming out with such products and services. Okay. Then better engagement and talent attraction. You also have a regulatory advantage because you are following all the norms related to the law. Then operational efficiency, cost saving, long term resilience and risk management. Yes, that is very important point, because maybe short term it is not going to be resilient, but in long term it is definitely going to help the organization to grow and develop as a sustainable organizations. Okay. And it also provides new business opportunities, because you need to go for innovations in your products and services based on these sustainability practices. Okay. What kind of data is used for sustainability? Financial metrics. What are the financial metrics? How much you have invested, what are your benefits. So, you can go for some kind of cost benefit analysis. Okay. In addition to say profit, market share, brand reputation, all these are basically a part of the metrics. Then what is the impact on the environment? How we are going to measure it? How much emissions you are reduced, right? What is the carbon footprint? All kind of things you can look at. Social metrics, what is happening, what is the social impact of these kind of things, and whether you are following the norms of the governance or not. Okay. We will talk about this in detail again. See, if you adopt sustainable business practices, it improves your energy management efficiency by using alternative power sources and also carbon accounting, right. You use infrastructure that reduces greenhouse gases, emissions, preserve water resources, eliminate wastes. So, these are some of the benefits that you have. You have a dynamic supply chain to empower a circular economy. You know circular, you know what is the use this term circular economy? What does it mean? Yeah. Yes, so if you are using a product, whatever waste is coming out, that is being reused, yeah, recycled, right. So, in a circular economy these kind of things happens. So, you go for reuse, redesign, promote sustainable consumption and protect natural resources. You can also enable sustainable development by assessing risks and improving resilience while adhering to the regulations and development goals. Okay. Look at this. How do we go about it? Define your company's mission. So, company is a term, you can say it is organization mission. Any kind of organization can go for having sustainable practices, right, even academic institutions also, right. So, it reflects the vision, values and how the business and leadership want to be remembered by future generations, right. Goals or objectives, what are your goals or objectives, especially related to sustainability strategy, people, planet and profit, all related to all these three, because these are known as the triple bottom line, trivial, right. You rank these objectives, that which one is more important, where you are going to you need to prioritize and see that which one is to be done first, which has to be done later. So, that is why this quadrant is there. Okay. So, you need to focus more on the first quadrant, that is urgent and important. Why it becomes urgent and important? Any idea? So, I am giving a different example to explain that. Okay. See how you manage your time. You have, I am just deviating a little bit to explain this. You know about time management. Okay. So, what you do, you try to find out, okay, this is the time that is available for you to do certain activities, right. If you do not do it in time, what happens? It becomes urgent, right. So, that is where you need to prioritize what are the things that need to be done first, what are the things that need to be done later. Okay. You prioritize and do it so that it does not become urgent, right. So, if you procrastinate, you delay certain things, then it become urgent and you have to do immediately. For example, you are polluting the environment as an organization, right, and once the government puts a penalty and then you think about taking certain preventive measures, right. So, this is what we call do immediately. You have to do it because there is no way out, there is a compulsion for you to go for it. So, make sure that you schedule everything as and when it happens, as and when it is to be done, you go for it. What you cannot do, you are going to delegate it to others, right. So, engage and say engage others also in the process. So, to start with, you have to set targets, setting 1 year, 3 years or 5 year goals, while you are focused on the present, okay. And then you see that what are the targets that you want to achieve related to different sustainability indicators for the next 1 year, next 3 years and next 5 years, and then you implement it. It means take action based upon your goals and objectives in the short term and the long term, and make sure the people roles are aligned with the company's sustainability strategy related to both profit and the environment. Monitor it, look at the data. For example, you say that our carbon emission norms is this much, we want to reduce it to this much, okay, for 1 year, for 3 year, for 5 year, I mean whether it is been done or not. And also make changes as and when it is required, because not necessarily you have fixed certain goals and it is possible for you to achieve due to external circumstances or changes that is happening. So, you need to go for making certain changes and adjust your sustainability strategies wherever it is applicable. Okay. Another important point, attracting and retaining top talent. Why it is required? If you look at the today's workforce, especially millennials and Gen Z employees, those are born after 2000, right, they are known as Gen Z employees who are just entering into the workforce. They are basically look forward to those employers who prioritize sustainability, and they also ensure that the companies are taking care of their CSR activities. Okay. So, if as an individual I know that okay, this is a good company which is taking care of the environment, then I would prefer to work for that particular company. So, this kind of mentality is coming up. Okay. Now, the second thing is differentiation in the market, how your products and services can differentiate your brand from competitors, provided you offer them products and services which are meeting the norms of sustainability, right. You have you see today you have lot of products and services which are following sustainable practices, right. Like you are using resources which can be reutilized, reused, right. Like you know that many places these plastic cups have been replaced with paper cups, okay, or made from leaf, right. So, it will not have any adverse impact on the environment. Yeah. The third one is access to new markets. Okay. So, since most of the companies are going for adopting sustainable practices, okay, you can also tap so tap into new markets and gain a foothold in regions where sustainability is a priority. Worldwide you will find that uh, most of the governments have actually given importance to those businesses which are more sustainable, which are actually adopt sustainable practices. So, you can have those markets not only in India, but other countries also, provided you engage in these kind of practices.
Sir, can I interrupt?
Yes, sure,
Because
sure.
it is related to the last slide
Yes, yes.
about the general Gen Z, you know. Now, I am also, interacting with lot of Gen Z
Yes,
college
yes.
students,
Yes, yes.
but somehow I tend to disagree where, like they have generally जो पैसा ज़्यादा देगा वहीं जाएंगे हम. I mean that mentality is also there. I am not sure.
Yeah, it is there. It is there in the beginning. It happens that you look, they look for such organizations which are paying good money. Definitely, it is there. I do not disagree with what you are saying, but at the same time they are also conscious about the environment today. If you look at the younger generation, they are more conscious because they are more educated and aware about what is happening. Yes.
I can
Sir,
tell.
actually there is a survey conducted by Deloitte
Hmm.
in which
Can you
they
just
Yeah, yeah.
one
Please.
thing?
Yeah, one by one. Huh.
This is I have corroborated it with some PSU companies also,
Hmm.
and one of them actually told me about this problem. I I don't want to obviously name them, but it's a reputed PSU in based in Odisha,
Okay.
and their HR was telling that when they are recruiting MTs or management trainees, they are finding that after 1 year or whatever training they are giving, 1.5 years,
They
they
are
are
living.
going for greener pastures, in the sense that they also don't like to live in small townships. Now they are preferring going to metropolis cities and like that.
Yeah,
So
this is, yes, I agree with what you are telling, but at the same time you will also find that if you compare our generations and the new generation, you know which is more aware about the environment, which is more conscious about the use of products and services. Maybe they are looking forward to those companies which pay higher. Definitely in the beginning it happens with everybody, but at the same time you will also accept the fact that they are more conscious, is not it? Yes, what you are talking about.
Deloitte actually conducted a survey regarding this,
Mm-hmm.
and compared to previous generations, Gen Zs, they prefer to work in companies which are more inclusive
Yes,
and which are incorporating more sustainable programs and
yes,
all,
yeah,
and they are willing to even work for lesser pay if the companies are inclusive and if they do not discriminate. Like it can be anything, and it also includes gender inclusivity also.
yeah. See, if you are talking about inclusivity, it includes three things: diversity, equity, and inclusivity. So,
Yeah.
these DEI principles have to be followed by
Yes.
most of the organizations, right?
but
You are,
is it a global thing you are talking about, or the Indian context?
No, it is a global thing.
it is a global trend, but
Yeah.
gradually even Indians are also going to follow this norm. And even if you look at big cities, okay, which maintain proper hygiene, go for good waste management, they are better compared to the tier 2 and tier 3 cities today. You know,
Sir,
Indore, I give an example of Indore. Why Indore is always coming first, being a cleanest city? Yeah, it is a tier 2 city. Not tier 2, it is more or less is as big as any big city. Again, okay. Indore is quite big, being a capital, and a lot of things, lot of industries, institutions, everything is there. So, it is a big city. It's, I think it is spread around 70 to 80 kilometer if you look at the periphery of Indore, but it is still considered as a very clean city. Yeah, you will, I am not saying that you will not find waste there, but it is basically the habit of the people to ensure that they dispose waste properly, they behave effectively, they are very conscious about the environment. So, see, it is not going to come in one day. Yeah, I agree with your point that yes, people are running after money, that is one thing. But once this need is satisfied, now they see that whether they are going to work for an organization which is not only good in terms of finances, but also adopt certain practices, okay, related to ESG, environment, society and governance. Gradually this turn is coming up.
So
Yeah, if you look
researches
at
which
some
are
of the
there,
polluting industries, then the things are different. See, in Odisha you will find lot of industries which are creating lot of pollutions, right. Now, it is the responsibility of the leaders to ensure that how they are going to reduce these things, are they doing it or not, are they just following the minimum that is required by the government.
Sir, I take your point, what you said about the mindset thing.
Yes.
You gave the reference of koila, I mean, it is depletable. Now, what exactly happens is, if the MD comes in, और जो भी हो CEO, उसका अगर 2 साल का टेन्योर है, वो सोचता है भाई हमारा तो इतना शॉर्ट टर्म, आई मीन लाइक आई एम कमिंग बैक अगेन टू दैट पॉइंट ऑफ द माइंड सेट. सो यू हैव टू शो रिजल्ट्स एंड शॉर्ट टर्म में मतलब you try to don't think on those long terms, I mean generally.
Yes, that is the problem. No? With the problem is that whether the company is driven by the CEO, okay, and each CEO will have a different perspective, or company is being driven by a policy where every CEO is going to follow it, whether when it comes to sustainability. These are the issues. That is more important. Yes. Leaders change, but if you adopt sustainable policies and practices and you make it a ground rule that everybody has to follow it, whosoever comes have to follow it, isn't it? So, that is more important. You do not follow it because there is a regulatory norm to go for it. So, you do the minimum, right. For example, the government has made a rule that you are going to spend 2% of your profit for CSR. So, what most of the organizations are doing, they are just spending just 2%, not more than that, and that is where they are also manipulating the funds, that is happening. But you can spend more than 2%, who is going to stop you?
Again, that is what I am saying. There were Indian companies like SAIL, Tata Steel who are doing it even before this mandate.
Yes, they have been doing it.
But there are some other private sector companies who are
Because see, that is the problem, no? Because your motive is only to make profit, not looking at the planet. So, you have to go for a balanced approach. On the one hand, definitely have to satisfy your stakeholders, but this other side you also need to take care of your earth. That is where you need to educate and make them aware, conscious what will be the long term consequences. Maybe I have enjoyed these resources, but what about my children, great grandchildren? Are they going to have the same set of resources?
So I want to get a perspective from you, larger perspective.
Yes.
Philosophical, since coming from the psychological background. Because I have a hypothesis that yes, a process technology ये manage हो जाता है.
People process is very difficult. Yes.
इसका क्या, I mean, is there a role of our education system also which
Yes.
is actually promoting
Yes, promoting behaviors which are very important for the environment, positive behaviors, and there is a branch of psychology which is known as environmental psychology.
उससे भी बड़ा, my point is that like this grades, ranking, ये सब मतलब it is not promoting some kind of selfishness approach.
Yes, definitely. See, there are two. See, I agree. There are two kind of indicators. One is quantitative. ठीक है. One is qualitative. So, that is where I said that you need to adopt a more holistic approach. Just do not take certain actions based on certain parameters. Okay. Change the people, change their nature and attitude towards the use and consumption of resources, you will find a big difference tomorrow. But that is the most important thing, how to go about it. See, most of the companies what they are doing, how much amount of resources they are using, how much say CO, carbon emission norms they have gone for, what is the carbon footprint. But this can be achieved if people are conscious and aware about these things, that what would be the consequences of my actions. That is where psychology is important. So, behavioral change, attitude change is the most important thing. Okay?
Sir, regarding
in the consumption of the final goods. Now, when they are going to buy a certain goods, there they are wanting to find out whether it is sustainable or not,
Yes.
it is eco-friendly or not.
So that is see, that is where you need to educate and make them aware and conscious about the negative impacts
Yes.
of the use or consumption of the resources,
Yes.
isn't it? And that is where we need to train them, start from the say class 9, 10 only. That is why environment has been made a subject everywhere, so that they become at least aware about, okay, these are the things. Even after being aware also, you don't sometimes don't include in those kind of behaviors or don't go for those kind of behaviors. That is also happening because one motive takes precedence over the other motive. This is happening with most of the
Yes, and
organizations.
sometimes they feel also that my little effort, how much of change will it bring?
Yeah, but see, whether it happens or not, you should go for it. In my personal opinion, I try to see that I am going to use those resources, okay, which are going to sustain in future. Okay. For example, you are using water in your house. You open the tap, let the water flow as much as possible. When if you are having brush, how much water you are using? If you are brushing, just close the tap. But how many of are aware, conscious about these facts, right? So the charity begins at home, right? You have to start somewhere. Maybe others will follow tomorrow. Okay. So if you think that no, not others are following, why should I? Then it is something wrong. It's a basically a very wrong assumption. I hope that you agree with me. Yes.
Yes, that's
The valid point is that yes, somewhere we have to start. We have to be aware and conscious about these kind of things.
So more than theoretical knowledge, we need to.
Theoretical knowledge does not help much. You need to be very, even the practical things you have to do. How we are going to make sure that things are happening.
Yes. I will give you sir practical example.
Yes, yes.
मैं बाजार में मार्केट में जाता हूँ थैला लेके
हाँ.
एंड आई हैव सीन पीपल दोज पीपल कि अरे भाई प्लास्टिक में दो नहीं है तो नहीं लेगा मतलब ये
So
आई मीन
you
दिस
force the shopkeeper to give you goods in the plastic bucket, right?
हाँ but while
Yeah,
there are
polythene bag.
norms that you know you cannot use there are some but these
See.
shopkeepers say that भाई हमारा वो नहीं देने से वो लेगा ही नहीं
See,
वो चला जाएगा
that is somewhere you have to change. The shopkeepers have to say no. If you don't come with a bag, cloth bag, I will not give you the goods. And if everybody decides, things are going to change. Look at the tech market. You must have visited the local tech market in campus. Okay. Most of the faculty students go empty-handed because they know that they will get the things in a plastic bag. So this is the mentality that is to be changed, isn't it? We have a very clear rule by the institute that polythene bags below a certain standards cannot be used, but everybody is violating these norms and plastics are being used extensively, I will say. See, maybe in emergency you can make use of it, but not everywhere, not all the time. So this is what I am talking about. The mentality, the mindset is to be changed, right?
तो वही सर तो बड़ा
Wait,
प्रश्न
that is
है
a big problem. That is very important point. Okay. So how you go about it? See, these are all quantitative things that I am talking about, but the point that you have raised, yes, that's very important. Needs in terms of environment, social and the economic, and then these are the drivers we have talked about. You need a good leader, champion leader, okay, and then you have to see that how you are going to sell these things to the management or the people in the organization. So, okay, so you need to convince people to go for these kind of things. Even as an institution, we have to convince the stakeholders who stay in the campus to not to use plastics, right. You know, it was banned in the tech market, but it was effective only for 15 days. Gradually, we are back to the square one. Yes, it is happening everywhere.
You imagine, you know, outside in Calcutta or
Everywhere. I mean, that is why what is happening.
so therefore there is no correlation of education or with
The education and awareness make you conscious, and maybe you may think of changing yourself, your behavior, your attitude, your mindset tomorrow. But if you don't educate and make them aware, nothing is going to happen. Whether you talk about this indicator or that indicator, does not matter, right. So, you also need structure, support, resource and competence. This is a very important point. You can see awareness, communication and document information, okay, that we have been talking about. Pathways, you have to have policy, plan about your strategies related to sustainability, also address risks and opportunities that are associated with when you go for these kind of things, because there could be resistance to change. The example that you have given, that we are using still using plastics, right. Then you also look at the product life cycle. Okay. You also go for operational efficiency, and then you also monitor, measure, analyze, evaluate these things. Go for internal audit, how far you have been able to succeed. Okay. See, and actually you know that there are a lot of norms, you know, about ISO norms that is to be followed related to the environment. 9001, 14001, 45001, these are the different norms that has come into existence. All these are related to the environment. Okay. But the major problem is that whether you are really following these things in practice as an organization, at a later stage as an individual to start with. Okay. So, how you can promote sustainability, especially in the workforce? These are some of the activities or practices that have been adopted by the organizations. Okay. Encourage remote and hybrid work, paperless, go for paperless. But what is happening? It has actually duplicated the things. You are doing things on the computer, but you are also taking a printout. I will give a very small example. Okay. As a faculty, when I apply for a leave, it is online. We have a ERP system where you apply for leave online, right. Why do not they create a system where my head approves there itself, the dean approves and the director approves it? What happens? Once you apply, you also take a printout, sign it for the documentation and then send it to the dean for the head for the signature, and head will send it to the dean for approval. What is the need? So, are we really becoming paperless? This is the issue, because we do not trust on the system. Okay. And one of the dean told me that, say, why we want your signature is because suppose you are not in the campus and you applied for a leave, okay, then what will happen? Or somebody else has hired your ERP and applied leave for you then, and you are in the campus. So, just want to ensure that yes, if you have applied for a leave, it is valid, you have signed it, and then well it is going to be approved. But again, basically we are not following this concept of paperless. Conserve energy, definitely, conserving water, sustainable transportation using CNG and these kind of things, right, that is increasing, or going for electric vehicles, but that is also actually there is a question mark for use of these kind of things. Reducing, reuse and recycle, okay, and also engaging the community, right. These are some of the activities that can be done at the workplace. For example, you know that sometimes we become aware and then go for Safai Abhiyan, आपको पता है ना Safai Abhiyan, स्वच्छता अभियान, and then all the students, NSS volunteers, everybody cleans the campus one day, but after 1 week you return to the same situation. What is the point?
तो सोशल मीडिया में दिखाएंगे ना वो
फोटो लगा करके झाड़ू के साथ कि हाँ हमने ये काम किया है,
बस हो गया 1 साल मतलब 6 महीना का,
doesn't matter, okay, right. See, these are the indicators that is normally followed by the industry. Environmental indicators related to material use, waste, energy, water, greenhouse gases, emissions, etc. Economic relate to profit, revenue, sales, productivity, investments, cost, turnover. Social include human rights, fair labor practices, living conditions, health, safety, wellness, diversity, equity, work life balance, empowerment, community engagement and philanthropy. Then you have integrated, where you basically integrate all these three: economic, environmental and social issues of the triple bottom line. Eco-environmental, business activities that increase economic values while increasing ecological impact of the same. Okay. What happened to this? Yeah. So, social environmental focused on environmental impacts that affect social impacts and vice versa, and serve as a tool in planning decision making process at various managerial levels within the society. And the socio-economic, the relationship between the firm's economic activities and the social impacts. So, these are the different kind of indicators that can be used to measure how sustainable an organization is. So, actually this is from a research paper, somebody has done good work on these 3 indicators: environmental, social and economic indicators, and for say environment they have these, and under these are the sub indicators. This I had taken from a research paper. So, you can see what are the environmental indicators. Then these are social indicators: supply chain, social innovations, labor practices, training, reporting, health and safety issues. You also have legal issues, legal aspects. Then you have economic indicators: performance, reporting, economic impact, the role, I mean how circular economy is being used, supply chain, code of conduct, operational and environmental risks. So, these are the various indicators that can be used, okay, and for each indicator there is a sub indicator, you can see. This is basically is used to measure the sustainability practices of the organization. See how things have gone. This was done by Goldman. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs issued the National Voluntary Guidelines of what you call CSR. Then SEBI mandated top 100 listed companies by market capitalization to file business responsibility report. 2014 CSR was mandated and CSR rules came into action, Companies Act. 2015 BRR, that is business responsibility report, was extended to top 500 listed companies by market capitalization. It means that they have to go for this kind of thing. SEBI advised that IR may be adopted by companies on voluntary basis from financial year 2017-18 by top 500 companies. Then Ministry of Corporate Affairs related released this NGBRC, that is BRR was extended to top 1000 companies. Then this BRSR was introduced, not only business responsibility but also social responsibility, and 2023 200 firms published these reports. SEBI introduced new guidelines via press release from the board meeting, that what are the things that we need to go. Yes, in the next 5 minutes I will be able to finish. See, this is the average disclosure metrics for financial year 21-22 by the companies. So, I think disclosure is not bad. See, if you look at 21 to 22 data. Okay. I am not going to discuss about it, but this is something which has been talked by the government. This is the India Incorporation roadmap to sustainable future, especially related to these 3 parameters: environment, society and governance. And you can see the disclosure rate is not bad. How they are doing on different indicators. Okay. See, this is the outcome of what we said earlier. 88% organizations believe sustainability regulations will directly impact their business. 75%, more than 75% agreed that yes, ESG is a boardroom discussion. 90% organizations believed that its reporting will improve brand reputation. 75% organizations said that their investors rate their ESG performance. It means stakeholders are also taking it into consideration. 71% businesses agreed that their organizations voluntarily participates in ESG rating, and 60% plays high level importance on establishing ambitious goals for ESG. So, how we go about it? Through R&D, partnership and collaboration, also embracing circular economy. Okay. And finally, These are the emerging trends. Integration of advanced technology, focus on circular economy, go for regulatory requirements, regulatory and reporting requirements, greater stakeholders involvement, sustainability as a strategy, scope of sustainability matrix you go for increasing that, rise of green financing is very important, emphasized on local and global actions and increased collaboration and partnership. So, see, it is not possible to discuss everything, otherwise I could have gone okay how these are going on and how companies are doing on account of this. So, you can broadly guess okay what is happening with different set of indicators. So, see, if you look at these two, either it is flat, no change, or it is negative. It is negative on human rights, information of safe and responsible use of products and services, there is no committee on for sustainability issues, and you do not engage vulnerable and marginalized stakeholders in the process. Okay. So, that is all for today. If you have any questions, then you can ask, otherwise we will close up the session. Okay, then thank you. I hope that we had a good interaction. But one thing, as a psychologist, for me it is very important, change yourself, your attitude and behavior and mindset, and that is going to have the biggest impact.
So, sir, one last, thing.
Sure.
Again, since you are an expert, so we have some, impact assessment for technology and others, like reporting, etc. But what you said about this behavioral aspect, do we have any specific measurements or
Yes.
those
But
things?
they are more qualitative in nature, not quantitative. In environmental psychology, we talk about impact assessments and how behavior is going to impact, okay, and how these training and development interventions make a change, significant change in the behavior of the people, and that can be measured.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
but that is you can quantify it, but that is basically qualitative. There are measures that you can find out, that how to what extent people are engaging in environmentally conscious behavior, you can measure it.
and how do you think, if I take the example of India, she mentioned about global report. So I am just taking in the region of Asia, India versus Japan, for
Yes.
example. Okay, if we look at the education system and that how they promote collaborativeness, but we are actually promoting more of individualism. How plus some aspects like you are aware about nuclear family, and then we are. How does that also impact the mindset of somebody?
See, the social structure is very, very important. Look at the social structure, social interaction, social relationship, family structure, these are very important things. Because you know that when we were born and brought up in joint families, the things were different. Okay. We were interrupted by our uncles, our masis, our grandfathers, do not do this. But in a nuclear family where both the couples are working, who is going to take care of the child? So these are bigger issues, okay, which you connect with this, but definitely education and environment awareness can make a big difference. That is where the family has to take a lead and take the responsibility.
Yeah, so like you said, charity begins at home.
Yeah, yes.
So at that time, and now there are, there are generation shifts.
Yeah,
and
the
so therefore
generation
that
shifts are
also
there, but still I find, but I can give you my example. I mean, I don't know, in the beginning even I was not very environmentally conscious or engaging in those behaviors which could be considered as good. But when I look at my son or my grandson, I think they are better off. They do better things. I used to throw litters anywhere. I mean, now I don't do it, but I have seen my granddaughter, she picks up a piece and if it is not to be used, she puts in the dustbin, because she has to be trained for that. She has been trained. So this is the difference.
very good. I mentioned about a contrarian view which I see with my students.
Yeah. So that is where you need to educate and make them aware that no, this is not
But
the
again,
thing
sir,
that you have to do.
That age group of 19 to 23 is not the age where they will pick up
Actually,
those.
see, 3 to 12 is the best age
That
to
is
train
what
them
I mean.
in, because that becomes
So
a habit
that,
at later
that
stage.
comes from the school level
Okay.
itself.
So you have to train them starting from the beginning, the moment they start doing certain things. Okay. And when today schools have become more responsible, they teach them about such behavior. Yes.
But then I worked as an intern for a child psychologist. So there were many cases where parents complain that schools or any educational institutions, even including preschools, do not take care of their children for longer hours. Like they want their children aged, let's say 6 or 7, to be there from 9 to 4.
No, that is not required also.
Yes, because parents are so
You-
unwilling to teach
Yeah,
their
because they are
children
engaged somewhere,
themselves.
na? So
Yes.
they have to take time out and do certain things. That's very, very
Yes, so
important.
they are not willing to teach
So
their
you should
children
blame the
anything.
parents, not to the say creche or any other facility which is giving certain services.
No.
Also blame organizations. There are organizations which have creches there at the
Yes, yes, it is there.
Yes, and there are no transparent policies in crutches and all, and parents are fine with that also because they just want their things to get done and they want their child to be taken care of, not in a proper way, but if unless
Somehow
there
they
is
have
not
to
a
be
mess,
taken.
it's okay.
Somehow they have to be taken care.
Yes,
So this kind of
there are no
attitude
teachings
is not good.
happening to kids.
So what
only
is happening to such children? What kind of behavior they are going to
neglected
develop?
child.
Yes.
So again,
Yeah.
there are people who earlier used to leave it with their, grandparents or somebody from the relative. Now they are leaving it through some, private, so therefore
Yes, it is happening. See, both my son and daughter-in-law works from 9 to 5, whatever you say, right? And the child is sent to the creche. I mean, my granddaughter is sent to the creche, but she stays there only for a few hours. She comes back, and both of them have made it sure that one of them is going to be there to take care of the child. That's very important. Then how you raise and grow your child is very important.
parenting is a
Very important. And you know that the first education comes from the family or the parents. So they have to train them what to do, what not to do. So that is where the beginning happens. I mean, this is where you are supposed to start. Okay. But you think that no, once he is grown up, then we will teach him. Not going to help. Make it a habit to do certain things in a way. That is more important for all of us. I think for the younger generation that is more important. Okay. To take care of their environment. Okay. So, okay, thank you.